Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Lucha por Lucha. This is episode, I lost count.
Is it 9? This feels like episode 9.
I feel like we should call it like the Friends episodes where it's like the one that blah blah blah.
Yeah.
This is the one with Ricardo Rodriguez. You know what's funny is all I knew before meeting him was just he worked for WWE and he wears a suit. You know, he has cool hair.
Yeah.
And I think
he has very nice hair.
That was like the extent of my knowledge about Ricardo Rodriguez. And like this guy is like super deep. Like he's got some wisdom, you know. And I didn't expect him to be as deep as he was. Like he really dropped some knowledge in this episode, and I can't wait for everyone to hear what he has to say. Like he's very insightful.
Yeah, very honest.
He speaks a lot about the ego, and I really like that. I'm a sucker for that kind of talk. A lot of times like the ego is what saves us. It's what helps us like see our worth. It's not necessarily bad to have an ego, but just knowing how to check it is very important.
You have to find the balance.
Putting the ego aside is mean like, okay, so but how does this work in the big picture? You know, beyond myself. I mean, it's pretty great. I can go on this whole trip like just listening to someone talk about that shit. I love it. Okay, so B, I have a question for you. Somebody posted this and I really thought it would be pretty neat to talk about. If you could go back to the January's version of yourself, what would you say to yourself to give yourself a heads up?
Yeesh.
Yeah. Now that we're in October.
I've had a year. This year was a big year for me. I would just tell myself that things are going to get very ugly, but then you're going to have a lot of growth, and things are going to get a lot better. So hold on.
Yeah, I mean,
just hold on.
Growth always hurts. Growing pains, when kids have it in their legs, like it's real shit. Like it hurts.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. Like this is funny, but I think back to like how much my legs would hurt when I was little, and I'm only 5'3". I'm not even tall. Like, why did I have to go through all that pain just to not even be tall?
That's a sick joke. So here's a story, right, about growth. It's called the butterfly story. It sounds so corny. Once upon a time, a man found a butterfly that was starting to hatch from its cocoon. He sat down and watched the butterfly for hours as it struggled to force itself through a tiny hole. Then it suddenly stopped making progress and looked like it was stuck. Therefore, the man decided to help the butterfly out. He took a pair of scissors and cut off the remaining bit of the cocoon. The butterfly then emerged easily, although it had a swollen body and small shriveled wings. The man thought nothing of it, and he sat there waiting for the wings to enlarge to support the butterfly. However, that never happened. The butterfly spent the rest of its life unable to fly, crawling around with its small wings and a swollen body. Despite the man's kind heart, he didn't understand that the restricting cocoon and the struggle needed by the butterfly to get itself through the small hole were the universe's way of forcing fluid from the body of the butterfly into its wings to prepare itself for flying once it was free. So the moral of the story is, our struggles in life help to develop our strengths. Without struggles, we never grow and get stronger. So it's important for us to tackle challenges on our own and not rely on help from others all the time. Isn't that cute?
That is cute. The ugly part of that is that you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like you don't know. Yeah. You don't know that it's going to get better. You can't, you know.
Like now you're flying all over the place instead of like fucking crawling.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah, that's pretty cute. So what color butterfly are you? A black gothic one.
I feel like I would be a black butterfly.
I'd be like one of those obnoxious ones. Like just super in your face color.
Yeah. Look at me.
Uh-huh. It's me, everyone. Look over here.
Ya llegó por quien lloraban.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you know what? Okay. I would be an off black on pure black butterfly.
Shut the fuck up. You're customizing a car over here or what?
I mean, if I can choose my butterfly, I would be like a super dark black butterfly with like slightly off black details.
No, that sounds pretty sick.
It does. Oh, I want to draw it now.
Let's talk to Ricardo Rodriguez. I'm sure he has a lot better shit to say than we do.
Enjoy our ramblings.
Enjoy.
Is it recording already?
No.
It's because I saw the red light. That's
I'm letting you get all the dumb stuff out of the way.
Oh, no, that's not going to finish. That's going to keep going.
there is no end.
This whole episode's about to be real dumb.
Hey, I thought the mic was up here.
Can you put the whole thing in your mouth?
I told Jesus about me selling my Social Security, and so life is hard.
Stop.
Hey man, $50 is $50.
Yeah.
How did that come up?
I don't remember. We were driving. We were just driving, talking about life, and we're talking about hindsight and how.
Oh yeah.
how
What's your experience with your Social Security number?
Talk to me about your social. Is it only yours?
¿Cómo va?
Does anybody else have access to it?
Tell us your story.
Mine?
Yeah.
Was I was just a broke kid, man, and my tia's like, hey, you want to make some money? Yes. I'm like 19, 20. Broke kid at 19, 20 years old. And she's like, pues, voy a cruzar unos mojaditos y si quieres les puedes vender tu número social. And I was like, pues, what happens if you do that? Like, what's the worst case scenario? She's like, nada. Ellos van a trabajar. Ellos lo que quieren es trabajar, varo. Ellos van a cruzar, van a trabajar. Y al fin del año, cuando hagan las taxas, a ti te va a caer. El W-2, todo eso, el tax return te va a caer a ti. Y todo lo que ellos han trabajado, te cae a ti. Así le pasó a tu tío Javier. And I was like, oh. Nomás que tu tío Javier no sabía cómo cuidar el dinero. And I was like, okay. ¿Cuánto?
You knew how you were going to invest it.
I guess I knew. And I was like, sure. Never saw a dime until like, well, no, never, right?
You had to pay.
I had to pay. I was like, holy shit. They're after me.
Wait, are they still using it?
I don't know.
Alvaro, you don't know?
I've tried filing like what is it? Identity theft, but the cops are like, we can't do anything. Just fill out this paperwork, and I haven't gone back. And honestly, I haven't had any delinquent accounts or anything.
It went from a fun conversation to Alvaro being worried.
So
I know, I'm like, Alvaro.
I'll be
he's
back.
admitting to a crime here.
Yeah. Aparte de eso.
Well, I mean, I didn't know any better.
Get him, boys.
Hey, listen, capa. Jesus was telling me that he likes coming over here because pues el ambiente es diferente from where he's at. Now, where are you now?
Well, I'm in Pennsylvania right now. I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and it's a lot different. It's more mountainy. There's a lot of Amish and farmland, so it's very different. It's all English. There's not a lot of Spanish, so it's nice to come back down here, man, and just hear español and hear la raza, la música, el sabor, los olores de la carne. It's so nice to come back here, man. It's so nice. And plus, you just fed me too. So I'm a happy camper right now.
We just want you to say good things about the podcast. That's all.
Tell us more about us.
Oye, Jesus, like, what was your upbringing like, man? Like, I know we talked a little bit. I asked you where you're from, L.A., right? You said L.A. How was that, like, growing up?
Well, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California. If I were to tell you that I had like a terrible childhood, that I lived in the ghetto, I'd be lying. I had great family. I had a great upbringing. Soy hijo de migrantes. Mis padres son de México, de Zamora, Michoacán. And then they came over. They had myself and my sister. And we didn't have a lot growing up. So obviously they're brand new to the country, so they don't have anything themselves. So they gave us everything that they had. And they taught us about like honor and then working hard and being honest. And I grew up with those fundamentals, and it was such a nice thing growing up to that idea that maybe that can lead me to success until you get into the real world and you realize how things tend to function. But no, I had a great time in Los Angeles. I enjoyed my time over there, and then eventually I started kind of getting into the whole world of sports, and then I started with soccer, football, and playing throughout LA, and then wrestling kind of came in. I started getting into the backyard wrestling scene. I started doing backyard wrestling, and then as time went on, I started actually getting trained. I started in 2006, and then for the last 17 years that I've been in this weird, crazy, awesome world of wrestling, it's been a nonstop journey on both the ups and downs. But I'm happy, and I know we've talked about this already. I know it's hard to tell my story sometimes without sounding like I'm making it up. Because it has so many weird, awesome stories in it that you would think that I'm making it up, but it all happened. And in hindsight, in retrospect, both the good and the bad, I'm beyond happy that everything happened the way it did. because it's what led me to what I am now. I am not the person I was years ago, but I am a product of all those experiences, and that's how I was able to grow and then become the person I am now. But yeah, in short, Los Angeles, California, and from Los Angeles I went to Florida. From Florida I went to Texas. From Texas I went to India. I went to England. I went to Mexico, Puerto Rico, Australia, Egypt, and now Pennsylvania. So to keep that in short.
Mr. Worldwide.
I was going to say,
Mr.
that's the real Mr. Worldwide. We call Alvaro Mr. Worldwide because he travels.
Because I go coast to coast. No matter. Yeah, right.
No, but it's been an awesome journey, man. Honestly, like and I don't realize it until I have to like stop and then slow down and be mindful of all my experiences. And then also because of Facebook memories, it reminds me of all the stuff that I've been able to do. And then it's all because of wrestling. And I can never be so thankful enough for what wrestling has given to me.
Well, you said wrestling came into the picture. How old were you when that happened? Like, talk to us about that. Like, take us through that. Like, how did wrestling come into your life?
So I used to watch lucha libre when I was a little kid, and then I grew up watching like like Octagon, Último Dragon, Atlantis, Tinieblas, Máscara Sagrada, Felino. That's what I used to watch when I was a little kid. Triple A, CM, El Consejo. And then as time went on, I kind of grew out of it because in the U.S. we didn't have those channels. Mm-hmm. So I'd only really watch it when I was down in Mexico and with my cousins and my uncles and my grandpa. And then eventually, once I got into high school, like I had some of my friends that were into it, and I had the same like disposition that everybody else had. Like, oh, that's fake, that's dumb, that's weird, that's phony, this and this, right? That's lame. But then I had a friend. His name was Rafael Romo, and then he was the only kid in our neighborhood that had a pool. So we would always go to his house because he had a pool and he had a diving board, and he used to have this thing called a black box, and the black box was this thing where you can stream or download or view pay-per-views for free. So he used to watch like the boxing on HBO or the WWE pay-per-views, WWF pay-per-views. So I wasn't interested in the wrestling. I was interested in the pool.
Yeah.
So I would always go to his house to jump in the pool. And as time went on, I started getting into it. And then it was that pay-per-view with like the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and the TLC.
Ahora.
And it was when Jeff was hanging from the titles. And then Edge speared him. And then when I saw that, I was like, that's the moment. I was like, I want to do this. I want to try this. And little by little, we started getting to the backyard wrestling, and I did all that. And then also at the time, side note, I used to work in the adult entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. And then I used to do some like graphic design, photo animation, retouching, type of stuff. So once I got into this backyard company, I used to make the flyers, right? And then I thought they were pretty cool looking flyers at the time. So we used to go to PWG, and PWG was one of like the largest companies, independent companies on the West Coast. Yeah. And we used to flyer PWG for our backyard shows, right? Oh, but because the posters looked pretty cool, I think nobody thought it was gonna be a backyard show until they went to the actual house and they saw this boxing ring in the back, and then they realized like, well, this is a backyard event. But it just so happened that there's one guy who ended up staying, and he saw one of our events, and then he approached us afterwards about like training and being part of his show. His name was Joe Medina, who actually was a lucha promoter, and that's how I got introduced to lucha libre, and the promotional side of it on lucha, which is very different than the American. And then so I ended up joining with him, and I started training with him under the guy named Latigo Blanco, who was my original trainer, and I learned so much from him. He would just beat the living dog shit out of us, but I loved it.
Old school.
And when we first started, we had a nice little decent-sized class, and at the end of it, there was only like 3 of us that were left. It was myself, this girl named Ruby Riot, and then this guy named Eric Watts, who still wrestles. He's been on AEW a few times. He's done like NW Championship from Hollywood in LA under Dave Marquez. So he's done a lot of stuff, and he's still active. So eventually after that, enough time with that, I started switching over to the American side of wrestling, and then I started traveling. I got to do stuff in Europe on my own before WWE. I did Chikara, so I came over to the East Coast. I did Pennsylvania, and then I was back and forth between like Los Angeles and Mexico, and I was moving around. And then eventually one day I ended up working for this guy named Jesse Hernandez, who gave me my who I wrestled for. And then after the match, he goes up to me. He's like, "Hey, WWE's coming to town in like 2 months or whatever it was, which is like a tryout." I was like, yeah, of course.
Who would say no?
Yeah, of course. So I go and I do the tryout. And I get to the Staples Center. It was, I don't remember the exact date, but it was the Raw after SummerSlam in August 2010. I want to say August 10th. I don't remember, but August 10th. Let's just say August 10th. So 13th. I did the tryout, and then afterwards they come up to me and they're like, "Hey, do we have this thing coming up the next day? Would you be interested in doing it?" And I'm cutting the story short, but this is basically a summary. And then so I go the next day to Bakersfield, California. I do this whole like ring announcing deal, and then I see Vince coming down the ramp, and he does that walk, and I was like, "Oh my god, that strut is real."
Yeah.
So then he comes down and I always remember this because this is one of those things that just like I don't get it, but I get it. Because I'm thinking he wants me to do this re-announcing thing, and then I just picture like very formal. So you're Justin Roberts, you're Tony Chimmel, Bruce, Michael Buffer, very formal. And then Vince just goes like, no, not like that. Just be more Hispanic. Yeah.
I know, my head just tilted like, what?
Yeah, he's like, just be more Hispanic.
He wanted that rancho.
He just want to be more like animated, right?
Yeah.
But I started remembering like the ring announcers or the commentators from AAA, how they were loud and very like vibrant. So I did that, and he liked it. And as time went on, the whole Alberto kind of thing happened because it actually originally started because I couldn't remember his name, but his name was on the Tintron, so I would always have to turn to look at his name too because I wouldn't say Alfredo. I don't know why I had Alfredo in my head. It was Alberto, obviously. But as time went on, I remembered Andres Cantor. Andres Cantor was the Argentinian soccer commentator who was very famous for goal, right?
Yeah.
So then that's how the Alberto kind of thing came about because of Andres Cantor. And I've tweeted Andres Cantor a few times, and he's never responded. And I was always hoping. I mentioned to WWE a few times that I wanted to meet him just for that. And it never happened. There's also another soccer player from Switzerland. His name is Ricardo Rodriguez. And anytime we went to Europe, I would always try and tell WWE that I wanted to like link up with them just for the photo. But it never happened. But then I got to spend some time in WWE. I spent like 4 or 5 years with WWE. After that, I left and I went to India. I did 6 months in India. I opened up a wrestling school for Great Khali. We got to do 3 major big shows, which the first event, I think we had about like 22,000 people, 21,000, whatever it was.
Wow.
The second show, we had about 52,000. And the last one, only because of rain. These are cricket fields.
Wow.
We had about like 11, 12,000 people, only because of rain.
Damn.
And then what was nice about it was that prior to that, because of everything that I was posting on social media, WWE had not been to India in 14 years. And then after that, WWE went to India because of what we were doing.
Yeah.
We had been in talks also with Impact, and Impact had gone to visit us at the school. So we met with them, and then whatever happened. But WWE went. After that, I went to Australia. I spent some time in Australia. I went to England. I spent some time in England. Did some stuff in Europe, and I came back to the U.S. I got to spend some awesome time between like Florida, and then I moved to Texas, and I spent some time in San Antonio, and then so I was moving around. I kept going back and forth between there and Mexico, all over the states, and then COVID happened because I was not in Mexico at the time. COVID happened, so that shut everything down.
Jeez, yeah.
I was finished doing what I was doing in Mexico and El DF, and I went up to LA to visit my family. And then shortly thereafter, I got a call from this promoter in Egypt. So he basically had seen what I had done in India, and he invited me to go to Egypt to do what I did in India. So I went, and then I tried as hard as I could, but because of the COVID restrictions, we had a lot of like stop and start type of deal where we would start and then like the numbers would go up because of the borders were opening up, people were coming in, and the numbers would go back up, so they shut everything down. So it was a lot of start and stop. And unfortunately, we didn't accomplish. I feel like this is also like an ego hit to me because I was confident I could make it happen, but it was a constant start and stop, and we didn't accomplish what I wanted to do. So then, so that happened, and then I ended up here. I came back here, and then that was a whole nother process. Mind you, there's a lot of little inserts that go into each of these little pieces that we can insert into all this stuff. So this is just like the brief, shortish.
The timeline.
Yeah, timeline. But like, there's a lot of little footnotes that go into all of this stuff. And then now I live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I have my own company out there, my school, and then I'm happy. And I'm happy here with you, man. Like,
No, dude. And what I wanted to ask you, so you're talking about what you did in India. You talk about the people filling up the cricket. Are they arenas? No.
Yeah,
They're
stadiums. Yeah, fields.
What was that process? Like, how did you make that happen?
So I knew Khali was a big deal in India. I didn't realize how big of a deal he was until I experienced it and I saw it. The only thing I compare it to, if you ever saw those old videos of the Beatles coming out of planes, and you see all the like
just
everybody
like Beatlemania.
Yeah. Think of that. Think of that.
Do you girls know who the Great Khali is?
No.
So the Great Khali, and they're new to wrestling.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this is a big part as to why we're doing the podcast too. Is like, I've been in wrestling. They're new to it. They love it. They enjoy it. They're getting to know the wrestlers locally. And right now, you're the highest profile wrestler we've had on the podcast. And
It'll get better. It'll get better.
no, this is great, man. This is like a treat. Like, if you would have told me years ago that one day Ricardo Rodriguez Jesus is going to be in my dining room, like I'm feeding Jesus, and we're sitting here talking about his life and career, I wouldn't have believed it. And the Great Khali, he comes out in the movie. Have you guys seen The Longest Yard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Long time ago.
giant who's playing ping pong.
Yeah.
That's the Great Khali. He wrestled for WWE, and even before that, he was already a huge star in India. But he is like a mega star out there.
Mega star. Like, I remember they used to, and I saw it a few times, where we were watching SmackDown, and suddenly like Great Khali was the main event, and I was there for that SmackDown. I was like, he wasn't the main event. So I figured that they had edited SmackDown to make him the main event.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, no, like there were so many times, and then so we had gone to so many restaurants and never once did we pay ever. The owner wanted was just a picture with him, and he would bring like a whole group of people,
Like a crew.
Oh yeah, and that was a lot of food. But he never paid because the person just wanted like a picture with Khali. There was people that would drive hours just to go see him at the school. And it was insane.
You said the first show was 22,000?
About
That's
yeah.
insane.
And that's because now did you link up with Khali before going out there, or once you were there you linked up with him?
Well, I knew Khali obviously from WWE because we were in at the same time. Pero Jinder Mahal had hit me up. I forget how it happened, but I had a chat with Jinder, and then he had said that Khali was looking for somebody to go to India. And at the time, I had just left WWE, so I had nothing to do. Like, I had time. And then I was like, you know what? Also, I was drunk as hell when I got offered this whole thing. So I was like, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, I'll go. I mean, yeah, why not? You know? Yeah, why not? And then the next morning when I saw it up, I was like, what did I agree to? Like, I don't know,
halfway to India.
Yeah, I mean,
I was
but
like,
that's
what did I
great,
agree
though.
to?
That's great. That's a one way to just jump onto something without overthinking.
Yeah, oh man, no. But I'm grateful that I did, though. I'm grateful that I went because I got to experience something so beautiful, like a whole different culture and a whole different area of people that I never would have in my life thought that I was ever gonna do. Like some kid from a barrio in LA got to go to India and then do what I did over there.
22,000 the first show.
Yeah.
I was like 20-some thousand, and I mean, yeah, we had these awesome guys, people that like Justin Gabriel, Brian Cage, Chelsea Green. We had all these.
That's back when you can get all these like superstars that weren't tied
weren't,
to the Fed or to any contract.
Yeah. And it was so awesome though, and the power that Khali had over there is insane, and it's hard to explain. I mean, I have footage of us trying to get through a city, and when somebody spotted them, and then the word got around quick, the car was just bombarded.
Oh man,
with people.
Beatlemania.
Seriously, man. It's like when like your mom was like with those bookies, you know.
Yeah.
Antonio Solis.
No, my tia, one of my tias told me that she kissed Lupe Esparza from Bronco when she was younger. Like he came down and like he was trying to walk through the crowd. Everyone was pulling on him, and she gave him a kiss.
It was the guy that's the Bronco 956.
Era el Bronco 956. That would suck.
Y yo bien celosa.
She looks back at the photo. She's like, wait a minute, that's not Lupe Esparza.
No, te iba a preguntar también, Jesus, like during your training, man, like how serious were you about training? Because were you doing backyard shows before you trained? Was that like just winging it?
No, yeah. So our training was watching Impact or TNA the cruiserweights, and then mimicking their matches.
The X division.
Yeah, the X division. That was our training. So we would spend like a whole month doing like a match, right? But we would do like move for move for move. I don't know any better.
So y'all were just recreating.
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
Yeah, so we would watch and we would like slow stuff down and break it down how they did stuff. And obviously, looking back at the footage now, we had no idea what we were doing, right? But nosotros éramos cabrones.
No, pero back then, ese estilo era nuevo. Like, that was a new style. It was a hybrid style because you had guys like Bryan Danielson, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Low Key,
Homicide,
Chris Daniels, like these people that were trying or bringing in the Japanese style, like almost like a strong style, and mixing it in with the American style. And that was new for a TV audience.
It was.
So, yeah, I did the same thing, dude. Like, I was doing backyard wrestling bull crap, like, with my cousins, like, hurting ourselves, like, trying to be safe as possible. But because we saw it on TV, we thought we can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Get trained.
Go get trained.
I mean, that sounds like teenage girls that are, like, learning, like, Britney Spears, like, dances
Yeah.
from
The
her
TikTok
music
videos.
videos.
I guess so,
The
yeah.
TikTok
You're like,
Yeah.
I know how to do my makeup, and it's like, because you see it.
That was
someone,
me.
Yeah, so I guess the guys' version would be, like, backyard
wrestling.
wrestling.
Yeah.
No, but it was such a good experience, though. Such a good experience. And, and I mean, obviously, later on getting training. And, so I was once I started training, I would take those lessons I was learning and I would go back to, like, my yard friends and I would show them. So we learned our rolls, our block ups, and our bumps cleanly, supposedly cleanly. And then eventually, I took it a lot more serious, and then it just went from there.
But es que así es. Like, even now, like, I remember when I was active, like, I would go to seminars and come back, and my closest friends, I'd gather with them and I'd talk to them about it. Then I had other people who I wasn't so close with that would ask, hey, so what'd you learn at the seminar? I'd be like, no, pues I paid for it, man. Like,
Yeah.
A ti no te conozco, no te
Yeah,
debo nada.
claro.
You're like, no me acuerdo.
No me acuerdo, fíjate, no estaba ahí, no sé. Cerré los ojos.
Es algo cosa que pensándolo bien, porque cuando yo estaba entrenando no había seminarios.
Yeah.
No teníamos ese lujo.
Everything was close knit.
Ajá. Y también, bueno, lo bueno de Los Ángeles es que había una escuela como cada 4 cuadras.
Okay.
So, había muchas escuelas. So, el lunes iba a un lugar, el martes iba a otro. So,
Wow.
toda la semana me la pasaba brincando entre escuelas.
Dude, that's what I tell people to do here because there's like about 4 different places.
Yeah,
I could
but it's
train
also,
you.
I don't know how it is here, but I know it's cliquey.
Yeah,
It's
así es.
cliquey.
Así es. Bueno, it looks now like this area here looks like they're opening up a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been telling Chance, like I'm very proud of the way that he runs his shows and how it seems that there's a lot of like boundaries that have been put down. Like that people have dropped their guard with one another, and it seems
Good.
like they're getting along really
Yeah,
good.
dude.
Because there was
if
a point
everybody
where
works together, you can achieve so much.
yes, porque hubo un tiempo donde por mucho tiempo decían, pues yeah, you can wrestle for me, but don't wrestle for that guy.
Right.
Or don't train over there. Oh, you're going to train over there. What about us? Or, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
It's
loyalty
very
questions.
limiting. Yeah, and it's
See?
very limiting.
I get it. I mean, I have my school, I have my promotion in Lancaster, Three Legacies Wrestling, cheap plug.
Boom, boom.
Boom.
We'll do a
But,
commercial break later.
So I get it. Because you do want to maintain some sort of, like, you can only see these guys here, so come to my show and see them.
Yes.
So I get that. So same thing with WWE and AEW and all that stuff, right? The nice thing with AEW is that they're allowed to go. So I see both sides of that spectrum, though.
Yeah.
I see the whole exclusivity that if you want to see Roman Reigns, there's only one place you can see him, right? So I get that.
Yeah.
Because it adds mystique and it adds value to that. But also, too, being so accessible to your fan base is also kind of nice.
Yeah.
That you can go see, I don't know, like let's say Moxley, right? You can see Moxley here, and that's cool. Because then, for instance, let's say a family that, I don't know, they can't afford like a $200 ticket, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They can go to a GCW, which is a lot less, and and then more personal. So I get both sides of it. Pero the Wrestle Dream event that they're having in Seattle, that's
Seattle.
awesome, man. That's super
That's
awesome.
that's next week. By the time this drops, the event
Yeah,
would
it'll
already
pass.
have happened, and I hope it's a huge success because I'm excited for it. There's a lot of good things happening. Like they're bringing in wrestlers from Japan who don't necessarily work with AEW
God.
to be a part.
What's with the event? What's different about it?
That they're working with New Japan Pro Wrestling, DDT. They're working with DDT Pro Wrestling from Japan and bringing in wrestlers that are not under contract with AEW, but they're allowed to wrestle
So you
on
can
our
see like
pay-per-view.
dream matches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me
Brian
los voy a meter en la
Danielson
maleta.
Hey,
Sí,
échale.
vete. Yeah, because like Brian Danielson is wrestling a guy who's considered one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, and Danielson is considered the best technical wrestler in the world as well. And they've never, that I know of, I don't think they've ever wrestled each other. and they're going to wrestle on this pay-per-view, and a lot of fans are excited for that against Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
So it's like a little remix going on.
Yeah,
Sort
Worlds
of.
colliding.
collaboration.
Yeah, algo
It's like
así.
a collaboration.
That's exciting.
And sí, te quería preguntar yo también, like during this time that you were training, what were or not training, let's say once you started, because you said you were already traveling before WWE, ¿verdad? You were going to Europe and doing all this. What was in that time the biggest challenge, like the biggest struggle while you were doing all this? Because it sounds like a successful career, right? To me, it sounds like it's successful because you're going to Europe, you're traveling. What would be a challenge for you in that time frame?
At the time, honestly, probably the biggest challenge was making money because I wasn't.
Okay.
I was
it was more
traveling.
for the experience?
It was more so the experience. And then, I mean, I was brand new, so I couldn't ask for too much. Most of the time, it was like, just get my flight. That's all. And the rest, don't worry about it. And I would always try and make sure that I would make some kind of money in my merchandise. So pictures or whatever, right? Shirts. But I wasn't making money for the first couple of years, 4 years basically. If anything, I was constantly driving out to San Diego from LA, and that was like 2-3 hour drive, and I wouldn't make anything. And it wasn't until I got to WWE that I got to experience actually making money, which was nice. But for the first 4 years I was on independence, I didn't make anything. It's another one of those things again where we go into like retrospect of like, I'm glad that I got to do that because I got to appreciate a lot more stuff later on of how I came up. So la idea de crecer pobre y luego algún día comprarme unos zapatos que cuestan $200, right? Let's just say. I appreciate that because I didn't have that when I was a kid. I bought myself a brand new car with my WWE check, which I never had a brand new car. I always had like a used one, so I got to appreciate it more. So for the first couple of years, I didn't make anything at all. So that was probably the biggest struggle. And then trying to, the rent and then the work and like actual job, the shoe job. That was probably the biggest struggle at first. Because I didn't have a family per se. I didn't have like a wife or kid or something. So like that would have been an extra concern, I guess.
Yeah.
Because obviously
another hurdle to add on top.
Yeah. So it was just me. So that part was easier.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other topic too, that once we got to WWE and then I got to see everybody else who had families and kids and stuff and how that toll takes on them because they're never home. And that's a whole other animal too. But I got to live it vicariously through Alberto because he had a kid, he had a family, and I didn't. But I got to experience it because I was with him all the time. So I got to see that side. But yeah, the biggest struggle is easily just not making money for the first couple of years.
So then you signed with WWE and all that, and now it was a different. You were used to being on the road and wrestling, and then when you were with WWE, it was more the role of the character, the on-screen character. You would get in there, bump around, and all that stuff. How was that for you, like the transition?
It took a while. To get over myself. That was the hardest part, getting over myself.
I think as a wrestler, like we all like naturally
I want to be the
egos.
John Cena.
Yeah,
I want to be the star. I want to be the John Cena. I want to be the Roman Reigns.
We wanna be
I
the
want to
main
be the
event.
one of the marquees. I want to be on the pay-per-views.
So it's normal.
That's great.
It's not just
It's not just me.
No, I want to be that guy. I see everybody else wrestle, and in my head, I'm telling myself, I can do better than them. I'm better than them. I know I can be that guy. I can be the champion. But then, as a wise man once said, know your role and shut up. But it took a while to kind of get over myself and get over that ego of what and accept what my role was, what my position was, what I was hired to do. And then once I finally got over that hurdle and I accepted what I was and what my persona was, what my character was, I embraced the hell out of it. And that's when I started having a lot more fun with it. That's when I started really like letting the character out. And then I think people were able to see that too. And then that sense of freedom of like, let's just have fun with this and just kind of see where it goes. I think was able to portray on screen, and then any antics that I had with Alberto or anybody that I was on screen with was able to show because I wasn't worried about like, I want to be that main event guy. It wasn't that anymore. It was like, let me make these 15 seconds that I have on TV my 15 seconds. These 15 seconds belong to me. And then that was my whole purpose. And I had fun with it because honestly, if you really think about my time in WWE, and I'm beyond thankful that I think, and maybe this is me being egotistical for a second, but I think that our time, because Alberto and I were a package, we're together. that our time was very significant for the Latinos, for a lot of different reasons. Pero I was only on screen for those, let's say, those 15 minutes that Alberto and I were technically on the match. I was only on there for like 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
As the intro.
Because he was wrestling and you'd be on the outside.
Yeah, yeah.
De vez en cuando te metías, pero no era
I
mucho.
wasn't the focal point, right?
No.
But that's what I mean. Like, I had about 10, 15 seconds. Those were my 15 seconds. And I was going to make sure that everyone remembered that was my 15 seconds.
What I like about what you're saying is you were there for what, 4 years?
About, yeah.
And it seems like it was a lot longer than that
does.
because what you did had an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Had an impact, and it's engraved in people's minds and people's brains, those who watched at the time. And you still have that following to this day. Like, people remember. Like, when you went into AEW, I remember being there feeling intimidated because everybody knew you. Not only the wrestlers, but the fans, dude. Like, we were sitting there, you and I, doing commentary, and people were coming up to you, asking for photos, autographs, and I'm like, damn, like, como se, you still got it. like what you did in that short amount of time, dude. Like, it's not for nothing. You what you did really set a good path for you, and it's all you.
And I'm thankful. And then I didn't appreciate it at the time until after the fact. I was at the time, and I know there's something we'll eventually get into, but I was living in the moment, but not acknowledging what was happening at the moment either. So I was living fast, the party, the drugs, all that stuff, because I had all this fame and fortune all of a sudden, that I didn't know what to do with it. So I didn't embrace what was at my hands at the time. I just kind of took it and accepted. I was like, all right, I got attention. All right, I got money. Let's have some fun. And then I didn't appreciate it either. I took it for granted, because in my head, this is gonna be forever. I'm gonna live forever. That was my whole mentality, I think, at the time. In retrospect, again, but I'm thankful though. I'm thankful because also too, from the moment we got there, we were put on the main event from the beginning, and it was probably like a good solid 3 years straight that we were just top billed.
Yeah.
Anything Alberto did, I mean, and obviously I was riding his coattails, so I was alongside. I was on for the ride as we went along. So.
I wouldn't say you were riding his coattails, man, because he got over because, not necessarily because of you, but you guys, like you mentioned, were a package.
Yeah,
you guys were a package. It would be strange for Alberto to come out and not have you announce him to the ring.
It was.
And it would be strange for you to come back and announce someone else and
like
not
with
Alberto.
RVD. Yeah, like with RVD, it was weird. It was different. But I'm thankful for everything that happened and the way it happened, and I'm thankful that now that I get to look back at it, that people still remember it. Because I think ultimately too, and this goes back to like feeding our egos. We always want to be remembered, but because at the end of the day, once we die, once we all leave, the only thing we leave behind is a memory.
That's how we live.
Right.
Yeah,
That's it. So I want to make sure that we remain a good memory. We don't want to be a sour memory in anybody's mind. Hopefully, we want to be somebody's good memories and something that they can always look back at it and smile. And then because that's something that one of you guys mentioned earlier, is how we make them feel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So we want to make them feel loved, enamored. Yeah. Enamored, love, happy, joyful, excited.
And even on the drive over here, you and I were talking about growing up. And one thing that we mentioned was, why is it that in high school they're teaching us about formulas, and what was the one that you mentioned?
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Like, why aren't they teaching us how to live, how to do your taxes, how to work, how to not sell your social security number to your tia?
How to be a grown-up. Yeah.
Like that sort of stuff. And when you were in WWE, you're mentioning how you didn't appreciate, like you didn't. Well, who was there to teach you? I mean, yes, you were surrounded by people, but everyone's an individual. Everyone's a grown-up and doing their own thing. Tú entraste joven y todo, y pues, ¿qué sabías tú?
And also, too, a la misma vez también, I started backwards in my journey. I didn't go to developmental first. I just got thrown right into it. And it was like, so this is how the only way I can equate it. Cuando yo estaba pequeño en Mexico, I didn't know how to swim, right? So we were in a little pond, in a little lake, in my grandpa's farm area. And then everybody was playing in the pond, whatever, in the lake. And then my uncle was like, why aren't you swimming with them? I was like, because I don't know how to swim. He's like, you what? So my uncle just goes and goes.
I was gonna say,
Yep.
picked you up and threw you in because
échale.
that's the most. Yeah.
I'm not that.
Así
Yeah,
aprenden.
that's-
Yeah,
the
no,
aprende.
But that's basically what happened when I went to the arena. Like, I didn't get any training wheels leading into it. They just threw me right into the main roster, and then that was it. So I made a lot of mistakes without knowing what the right way was. And then I learned what the right way was once later on. I was yelled at and told, "Hey, don't do that anymore, or do it this way." So I learned the hard way. But nobody told me like how to do this.
So you
nobody
can't
told
be-
me how to save my money. Nobody told me how to do my taxes. Nobody told me how to do any of that.
And nobody told you, hey, check out the impact you're making on these Hispanic families, on these little kids from the barrio who grew up just like you did.
Yeah.
Like, nobody was there to tell you, hey, look at this, man. Look at the numbers going up. Look at the demographics. Look at the towns we're visiting. How many signs are for you guys? How many people are looking for you guys? How many people look like you guys, you know?
Yeah.
Now they'll have this episode to refer back to.
But see,
to
no,
learn all
and
that.
especially because when we started this podcast was mainly for the local guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad that they're booking you and that we have you here. A lot of these local guys, I mean, they're young, they're new to the business. So having you on and you talking about your life, and a lot of these guys are gonna have similar upbringings. So there's going to be a connection there.
And not only too, I think as a whole, getting into this wrestling business, because we're in a business of instant gratification. So we want everything now. We want to be acknowledged. We want to be loved. We want to get the attention. Mm-hmm. That's naturally what we do. That's why we do what we do. That's why we go in front of an audience, because we want them to applaud. Even though most of us are the bad guys, we still want them to cheer because we want them to buy our stuff. So we want their affection, right? And then what ends up leading into that is the ego. And this is always going to be your worst enemy, is your ego. And I can't stress that enough, because that was my biggest enemy, was my ego. And then also the ego mixed with that thing between my 2 ears, my mental thoughts, and then being alone a lot, having this constant battle of like, no, you're doing a lot of cool stuff. You know how crappy it is when people are telling you that you're doing a good job and you go home and you feel so alone, and like you're telling yourself like, man, I'm fucking up, I'm screwing up. I'm not good enough. I just did something shitty. But then everybody else around you is telling like, no, you're doing great. Yeah, that thing you did on TV, that was awesome. But then you go home and you're like, man.
Like it's not adding up.
It's not adding up. Like, why do I feel like garbage? But it also comes down to the ego. But also the ego can also be something very persuasive, very ambitious, and it can give you something to look forward to. Because now, once I've gone through this whole process of the sobriety and then, the mental awareness of where I am and what I'm doing and what I've become and what I went through, that I can give myself a little bit more power, that I can move forward and I can take all those past experiences and then hopefully pass that information on to somebody else, and then so that hopefully they don't commit the same BS that I did. And that's what school is now.
It's almost like reverse engineering.
Yeah.
Like you started off on top, and now you can dissect everything from where you were to where you are now, and then some. Like you could pass it on, como dijiste, to your students.
Life is weird because we're supposed to live it moving forward, but as if we've already experienced it backwards, and it's a weird little conundrum. And also understanding too that we're living life on life's terms, not on our terms. So we have to learn how to adapt to a lot of situations. And then also, ultimately, too, it comes down to, like, there's a lot of stuff that we can't control. And then managing the way we react to things. Because I was very snappy. Because, again, my ego was telling me, like, no, you're a top dog. Eres cabrón. You're going to let them talk to you like that? Fuck that. Go handle it. Now it's like, dude, whatever. It's not even worth it. Or I have to tell myself, this is going to take a lot of your time, so just leave it. But, there's this whole thing. And then for the guys that are coming up, your ego, we just have to keep it in check.
Now, the ego seems to be a constant here. And I know that for a fact because I myself went through it and still go through it sometimes. And as a young wrestler, like, yes, the ego is a huge problem. How do you talk to your new students, like the newer students or the ones that you have now? Like, how do you talk to them about checking that ego?
How do you make someone aware?
See.
It's hard because everybody is different. There are people that they have a very low self-esteem, and then there are others that think very highly of themselves. And then it's a matter of keeping that weird little balance. You can't take the good without the bad. You can't take the bad without the good. So finding an equal balance, I think, is very important. And also be willing to listen. Because I know when I was at the peak of my moments of me being so full of myself, I wouldn't listen to anybody. And then in retrospect, I would see those. Every now and then, I see those messages again. And I'm like, man, I was such a dick. I need to slow down. I was out of line. I was saying some stupid stuff, and people that were trying to help me, and I would just blow them off. I'm like, man, get out of here. Like, what do you know? What do you know, old man? Like something with like your parents, where they would tell you like, Mijo, don't do that. It's like, what do you know? You're old.
Yeah.
You know.
You did it too.
Yeah. And then they're like, vas a ver, mijo, when you're older, you're gonna get it 10 times worse. What do you know, mom?
I think the hardest part is to teach someone that this is a business. Because like you mentioned earlier, like your first 4 years, like you weren't making any money. Mm-hmm. Dude, I can't remember how many matches I did for free. I would travel for free just because I loved wrestling. And everybody that's in wrestling, they love wrestling. They're doing it because they love it. They could do it for free, but you shouldn't. How do you explain to them, like, you have to work the audience? Not so much, we talked about this on the car ride too, like you can be the best technical wrestler, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be a huge success.
No, because you need to be able to engage with the audience. And wrestling will only take you so far. Your wrestling abilities will only take you so far. Because at the end of the day, this is still an industry and it's entertainment, right? So they want to be entertained. Listen, I love, and I mean, there's also... I think Triple H had mentioned how there's chocolate ice cream, there's vanilla ice cream, but it's all ice cream type of thing, so different flavors. So it depends on what you like. Pero you need to be able to engage with and connect with the audience. Otherwise, and also believe in what you do. Because why should I be invested in you? If you look the same way as him and move exactly the same way as this guy, why should I pick you over him when I can just go him? His T-shirt's $5 less, so I'll just buy his. Mm-hmm. But if you tell me that your shirt is worth those extra $5, I'll buy it from you. I'll spend those extra $5 on you because you engaged with me. You created this persona, this character that made me believe. Yeah, I believe what he does. I believe what he's saying. Even though you two may move the same way, but you do this extra flair into your movement, or you say like the nice little catchphrase that catches my attention. But that in itself is a whole topic that we can just go off on.
It's like a never-ending story.
Yeah. It just keeps going, and it's one of those like it's like those books where like if you want to open the door and then save Sally, turn to page 7. If you want to go this way, turn to page 18. But it's hard though, because when you're brand new, you don't know any better, but it's hard for somebody to tell you something, but oftentimes it's easier for me to show you. Mm-hmm. And because I can tell you all this stuff, but then if I go and I do something completely different, then it's hypocritical. But that's a good question, though.
I learned recently that the best way to form memories for us to learn something new is when there's an emotional attachment.
Sure.
You have an emotional reaction to that thing, so that's like it stays longer.
Yeah.
Like it goes from our short-term memory to our long-term.
There's a connection.
When we make a connection, an emotional
No, absolutely. Because now you can link it to something.
Yes.
And instead of just being something random that just kind of lingering in your brain, you can link it to something. So that actually makes sense.
Was even going back to your announcing, you got inspiration from someone else, from a soccer announcer, which everybody at the time knew because of the goal. Mm-hmm. And then you brought this in. And maybe it didn't remind them automatically, but subconsciously there's that connection. You were able to connect with the
I used to get
audience.
a lot of the buffers.
Michael Buffer?
Yeah.
Bruce Buffer?
Yeah, Bruce and Michael. That's what and in my head I was like, no, but I mean, yeah, sure, why not?
The elongation of the vowels.
Let's get Royce Rumble.
Rumble.
And I get it. But no, I mean, yeah, but I got it from Cantor, because that's what I grew up
that
watching.
was their American reference.
Yeah.
You actually had
you
to
tap into
But
the
that
comfort.
was their connection. That was their emotional attachment to whatever that was. Yeah. And then 2, what also started helping out eventually was that WWE started pushing it. So WWE started doing like this little countdown. So when I would do it on Twitter, they would do a clock stopwatch of how long it would be. And I think like the record was like 39 seconds or something.
My
Were
God.
you trying to?
Oh yeah. Because once I found out that's what they were doing,
We have to play
I started.
that on here.
I started doing it even longer.
Oh, did you ever pass out? Did you ever see the wrong name?
No, I never said the wrong name. But
Alfredo.
there were a few times when my voice did crack, and I was like, I'm going through puberty.
But I'm picturing you in your hotel room like the night before, just practicing, timing yourself.
No.
A little stopwatch.
No, and I'm sure you didn't imagine, your time on TV being as an announcer, like when you were in
No,
business, when
not
you were
at
like
all.
those 4 years going
Not
to
at
Europe
all.
and stuff?
I never pictured that that's what it was going to be. I never pictured that was going to be like what I was going to be known for. Like I said, it goes back to the thing of like the ego. I wanted to be that champion. I want to be the superstar. I remember I was working a program with Santino for like a little bit, and then they had me against him for the title, and I was like dreaming. I was like, I hope they give it to me. I hope they give it to me. But I had no reason as to why they would have.
Yeah.
It was just me in my head, right? I wanted it.
It was the prestige of being
Yeah. I wanted the champ. I wanted the title. But I'm glad that I went through all that I did, because I got to sit and listen and watch everybody else. And as time went on, I wasn't just seeing things, I was observing. I wasn't just hearing them, I was listening. And there's a big difference between those, right? So I started observing how people would manage things. I started listening to how they would call stuff. I started listening to like Arn, Malenko. I was listening to like Road Dogg, Triple H, how they would call matches. Michael Hayes, Jamie Noble, and then and everybody was different. So there's a lot of different ways that you can learn from something, and it depends on the person. But everybody was very different in how they would approach a situation. So I started learning from each one of them and kind of taking their version of how and the why. The how is easy. The why, that's always going to be the hardest question to ever answer, is why. So I started learning from all of them. And I started, like, when we would sit in with Vince and then hear the meetings and then hear him talk. And then you started learning, kind of getting his pattern little by little. And I think I had an idea, but he would always switch stuff up. But I got to sit in those meetings and listen to them. And then I was able to like take in, and then being able to ask them, why did you do it this way? And then they would explain it. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. But that's a whole other thing too. Like, because obviously in wrestling, they tell you that you should keep your mouth shut and the ears open to a degree, but it's okay to ask questions. Yeah. It's just how you ask the questions. Right, it's how you approach the situation. That's like anything else in life.
That means that you're trying to learn.
Right.
You're not assuming, I know why he did that.
Yeah,
it's important to ask. That way you can check yourself, your knowledge.
So, of course. But it's also how you approach the situation. You can't go, hey, so what's up with that?
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
No te van a
You have
decir
to
nada.
approach with that respect of I'm interested.
No, yeah. So
educational.
That's what I would do.
purposes.
That's what I would do with like Arn or Malenko, and I was like, hey, I just kind of, so I understand it too. Like, why'd you switch it from this to this? And then they would explain it, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then I would apply that into my matches later on.
Yeah.
Because
that takes time in removing the ego.
Yeah.
In order to learn.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things to teach, and maybe you can't really teach it, and it's more of one of those things that you have to experience, is to find a place on the card. Like, to understand that everybody has a role to play on the card, not just on with a company. It's like, for this night, for this show, I'm on match 1. So match 1 has to approach the show differently than match 2, differently than match 3, differently than the main event. And that's one thing that is hard to explain, because you have to know your audience, and you have to really take a step back sometimes and check that ego and realize, okay, so my role is small on this show, but it's going to help the show as a whole.
Right. So learning what your position is on the card, in the sense of, what's the purpose of this match? The purpose of this match is to get him over. Okay, how? You're going to get him over because he's doing something, let's say, with an armbar. Right. All right, cool. So that means I'm probably going to have to tap. That's all right. You know, like, we're working for the greater of the story of the match, not the individual. Once we put our egos aside, then we can build something together, and we can grow together to push the product, not ourselves, because that will come later. Our own individual interests will come later. We're working for the better of the show.
I remember, and I'm embarrassed to admit, that one time I was wrestling a guy who must have been about 120 pounds. And, you know, the promoter told me, like, he's going to win with a sharpshooter. And I'm like, I outweigh him by over 100 pounds. Like, how is he going to beat me with a sharpshooter? Like, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That's going to make me look weak. And he was like, no, well, that's what I want. And I didn't argue, right? Like, I'm trying to think that he's going to have to work my leg the entire match or whatever, you know. By the time we got to the sharpshooter spot, the guy knew. I told him, like, I don't want to do this, but let's do it. Fuck it, they want it, let's do it. And I remember by the time we got to the sharpshooter spot, my legs were so cramped up that he couldn't bend them, and he thought I was shooting on him. He thought I wasn't allowing him to put it on me, and I kept apologizing as he's trying to turn me. And because he's so thin and not as strong, he couldn't turn me over, and he thought I was shooting on him. He's like, turn. I was like, I'm trying my best. By the time we turned over, the crowd was so into it. Like, the crowd loved it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it at the time, but then I decided, you know what, I should shut up and just do what the promoter's asking. Like, if they know what they're doing, like, it's going to turn out fine. And even if I lost, like, who cares, man? This is not as real as you think it is. Like, you can't take yourself so seriously.
Like, at the end of the day, it's for the fans.
Exactly.
And if they're enjoying it.
And I think a lot of times us as wrestlers, local wrestlers especially, like, we tend to do stuff that we like. We tend to do stuff that's going to pop the boys, that's going to have the locker room go like, damn, that was cool, bro.
Correct.
Yeah,
but that's
cares?
not who you're trying to impress.
These people backstage are not paying you your ticket. They're not buying your merch.
That's not who you're trying to impress.
Yeah.
You're trying to impress those people that pay their money to come and watch you. You're paying those. You're doing it for those people that are watching at home.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those things that's hard to teach, because you'll hear it. You'll hear it from everybody. Pero let it happen to you and see how you react. So let someone tell you, hey, man, you're going to go out there and in 3 seconds you're losing. Not everyone's going to be down. Not everyone's going to want to. Pero
No, y aparte, it's also people saying everyone needs to watch their ego. But are you watching yours? Because that's also...
Yeah, because
are you doing it too?
I was praising that too. Like, I was saying, like, check the ego at the door, this and that. And then it came time for me, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. Like, why me? You know?
Everybody but me.
Pero no, like, that was a learning experience too. Like, I'm not proud of it, pero it happened. Why lie? Like, I was like that. I didn't want to do it, but it turned out to be better for the whole angle and the show.
Like for instance, right? Like, I know why I'm here today. Like, for the show, I know why I'm here. I'm gonna put him over. That's fine. I'm cool with that. And also, too, as I get older, too, I realize that I understand that my time is slowing down in the ring. I get that. So it's my time to give back. So I had my moments. I had my time. I had my highlights. I had my good times at the top. And now it's time for other people to step up and to have their moment. So if I can give them that little bit of knowledge or that rub in any which way possible, then I'm more than happy to, because I know my time is slowing down and I'm okay with it.
Well, see, and the thing is with you, the thing that got you over the most in your career doesn't require a lot of physicality. So you could always turn back to ring announcing the next guy, you know, make it work. It worked before, it'll work again.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, and I honestly think that the students that you have are in good hands, man, because you've been there, you've done it, you've succeeded, you've failed, and you're on the road to redemption, and things are looking up. And I think that holds a lot of value, because these kids won't have to make the same mistakes that you did. They won't have to suffer through what you did. Maybe they will, pero sometimes it's required to grow. Y como dices tú, like, all these trials and tribulations have made you who you are today. You're an outstanding person, man. Since the day I met you, siempre te portaste bien conmigo. Even when it seemed that we were in, you know, it's me or him, you know, even in that situation, like, siempre te portaste bien conmigo. Since day one, you've told me, like, you've been through it. You know what it's like. You're just going to be patient and let things flow. You're like water. Como dice Bruce Lee, be like water, man.
Be like water.
Adapt to the changes. Adapt to all these things. And you do very well at that.
Trying to.
What would you say is the one thing you learned, like, one thing that you appreciate the most out of your current run? Like, well, not just your current run, but your entire run from beginning to now.
There's a lot, though, for different reasons.
See?
The ability to have been able to make memories, I think that's key, because I still remember how I felt for a lot of those memories, and I still get people that come up to me every now and then, and they tell me that they used to watch us when they were kids, and also at the time, Ray was on and off because his injuries. But at the time, for a good solid 2 years, we were top of the game when it came to Latinos in wrestling. Alberto, and then I was his sidekick. So by default, I was alongside him. So for a good solid almost 2 years, it was Alberto and I that were representing Latinos.
And you guys were heels, but it's like, I bet you anything. It's like the Bret Hart effect. You go to Mexico, you guys were the biggest baby faces.
Dude, we were kings over there. But yeah, for those 2 years, it was about 2 years that we were just like everything Latin America, and that was kind of cool. But I didn't realize that until afterwards, when I started looking back and reflecting. And
Was it all happened to like very fast?
Very fast, very fast.
You came in and
I'm glad that because of my time with WWE, and as much as I hated when I left WWE, I hated the company at the time when I left. A lot of this wouldn't be possible if it hadn't been for them, because they gave me the recognition, they gave me the name, they gave me the
platform.
Yeah, the platform. And that's something that like nobody can ever take away from us.
Yeah. You're dude, you mentioned it earlier too. Like, un día de estos nos vamos a ir de la tierra y all they have is memories. You're immortal. You're immortalized on WWE. There's footage of you, the records, the name, everything, video games, action figures, de todo. Like you have been immortalized. And I think that lo demás sobra. Sale sobrando.
Pero también ahora lo que me gusta, lo que estoy haciendo de entrenar. Somebody mentioned the other day, because they came up to me and they're like, hey, because I posted a picture with an old student of mine from Florida, and they're like, hey, how do you know this person? And I was like, oh, we used to da-da-da, whatever. And then they had seen another one. Like, how do you know this person? I was like, oh, I used to teach them in LA. And then they go, like, do you realize how many people you have your fingerprint on? And you should be very proud of them. And then that just stuck with me, because of all the different places that I've been. And even though me personally wasn't like the biggest wrestling star per se, I was able to help out as many people as I could to help them achieve something. And I'm proud. I'm super proud of that. And then now to be able to give that back to somebody else now, especially at my school now, and to give them a platform, and then to have the platform that we do have, not just myself, but also as a company, to be able to give them that so that they hopefully one day achieve their goals, that's rewarding. So to see them move forward, even though it's going to be a slow step every single day, but it's still a step forward, and then a step closer to achieving their goals, that to me is rewarding, and I'm very happy for that.
Otra cosa también. You represented los Latinos, and in a way that has never been done before. Because everybody knows the wrestlers, like you have El Santo, your Rey Misterios, your Alberto del Rios, but how many of those Latinos were known for crossing over to the U.S. and being a voice, like being an announcer, a ring announcer? So that you've taught people that there's value in more than just the in-ring action, and that's one thing that I learned, and what's helped me in my current status is that being a wrestler didn't get me to where I'm at. Yeah, it helped. It connected me. I networked because I was a wrestler. But what I'm doing now has nothing to do with the in-ring stuff. So you have to make yourself valuable within wrestling. And that may be either as a wrestler, as a manager, as a commentator, as the bell timekeeper, everything, referee. There's many different ways to be valuable in pro wrestling, and I think that you were one of those good examples that it's not just what happens in the ring that's important.
Yes, and I completely agree. Pero también it wasn't something that it just kind of happened. I had to go look for it.
Yeah.
Because at the time also I wasn't content with just sitting there watching everybody else have fun. I wanted to play somehow.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I was always around, and I go back to the same concept of the moment I kind of accepted what my role was, I started learning and I started listening and I started observing. So I would listen to everybody else do their part. And I'll kind of take that into consideration of why they're doing what they're doing, so I can learn their aspect too, or their perception. But also to add on to the value that we have now as Latinos, we have this platform. We have this ability to voice something that not many people are able to. So it's kind of like the whole idea of like the Peter Parker with great power comes great responsibility thing. Yeah. So with now that what we do with like the recovery thing that I'm in, I do the recovery talks of a sobriety, and then my past issues with drugs and alcohol and the party lifestyle that came with like the WWE stuff. I'm able to give a voice to people with mental health, with addiction issues, because it's out there. It's heavy out there, especially in the field that we're in. Because I know that for instance, like the AEW schedule is a little different than the WWE schedule. But like for instance, we were on the road 5 days a week, and we were only home twice, 2 days a week. And on Wednesday was the day that we landed. We always landed kind of late, so Wednesday was gone because we're flying. And then Thursdays was the day that we had to do our errands,
Pay the bills.
Yeah, all that stuff. And then we were back on the road on Friday. So it was just constant go, 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 go. So oftentimes we were just void of feelings because we had to just constantly, continuously go. So we had ways of dealing with that void because we wanted to feel something. And for me, at least, it was the drink, the drugs, because that was me filling a void. And I know there's people out there that are currently going through it, that I've had the privilege of speaking with them as they're going through these issues, and then hopefully aid them and guide them to go get help. And then breaking the stigma, because as we were talking about earlier in the car, us as Latino men, we don't share our feelings. We don't talk about that, right? We're supposed to suck it up. Is anything broken? Are you dead? No. Are you hurting? No. Then get up. Keep
Walk
moving.
it off.
Walk it off. You're fine. Levántate, cabrón. Right?
Échate Vicks.
Yeah. So to be able to go and break a stigma that there is help, that we are able to go and reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'm not feeling well right now, man. I just need to vent. You don't have to tell me your whole life story. You don't have to. You can tell me whatever it is that you feel comfortable telling me, but just so that you let it out instead of holding it in, because that was also an issue that I had, was I was holding in all my emotions, and then eventually I just popped.
Was that because you felt like you could handle it, like you could take care of it?
Yeah, because I was yo era cabrón.
Eres
right?
chingón.
Yo soy chingón. Yo soy chingón. I don't need anybody. Yeah. Any issues that I had, I would just like either let it go and then not think about it, but I would still hold it in, and eventually it just culminated and it just erupted.
It's funny how that's, again, the ego.
Yeah.
We keep talking about the ego, but because it's a very center point of this whole of everything, because we talked about the ego within wrestling. Now we're talking about it in life in general, like with addiction, with problems, mental health issues. The ego can be very damaging.
It can be, but the ego can also be very good in a way. Having ambition, having a dream, having some sort of drive is not a bad thing. Being able to control it and manage it and balance it, that's where like the hard part is, because you also don't want to be too dragged into your own ambition and your own goal mindset, because you can miss out on so much. For the longest time, I was so focused on my goals that I was kind of like tunnel visioned, and I would only see that light over there, but I wouldn't be aware of what's around me. And I missed out on so much in life because I was just like, no, that's my goal. That's what I'm reaching for. This is going to hold me back. I don't have time for that. And now, once we take those like the blinders that the horses have, once we take those off, we're able to see around us, and we're able to be more mindful about what's around us. And we can take a second and breathe and see the beauty that's out there, that's in life, and the people that are around you, that they want to love you, and then the relationships that you can build. And I don't mean in a romantic way, just a relationship that you can build with somebody. And that's something I'm beyond proud that I'm able to do now, not just with my students, but also a friend, that I'm able to have friends. But I mean friends.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of acquaintances for so long, because I wouldn't trust anybody.
But it's hard to.
Yeah.
It really is.
Because especially when I was with WWE, I had money at the time, and I had a lot of friends, quote unquote friends. Yeah. And then they're all gone now. When I left the company, they all disappeared, and obviously the drugs and alcohol weren't there anymore, so neither were they.
Yeah. If you could pick up your phone right now and call anybody, whether you have their number or not, and give them their flowers, like show them appreciation for who they have been to you within wrestling or outside of wrestling, who would that person be, and what would you say to them?
My mom, for one, because she put up with me. She put up with me for this whole thing. My mom, and then probably my business partner, Chris Reisbach, would be the other one I can call right now.
Was your mom always supportive of the dream?
No. Hell no. Hell no.
What would she say? Because I mean, a lot of people go through that too.
My mom was she would always, like, especially when I would get hurt.
Yeah.
My mom would always like, "Ay, mijo, just stick to your job. You're just doing a hobby. Just leave your hobby."
That word, man.
Yeah,
that word, hobby.
I was like, "No, mom." And then obviously she cut that out later on, but no, my mom was very against it. Let me take it back. She wasn't against it, or she was for it.
Okay.
She was just like, eh. But when I would get hurt, which would happen quite often, that's when she would throw it in there. It was like that I should leave it. I should stop. My dad was just more so whatever about it. Yeah, but my mom.
Do you have a good relationship with them now?
Yeah. My mom was like my bestie. My dad, we always butted heads when we were growing up, but yeah, we're mutual.
Así somos los hombres.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember a couple years ago, I went and I hadn't seen my dad in a while. And we had this moment where this is how like messed up shit is, right? He told me he loved me, and I just lost it. I started bawling. This is like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago that I can ever remember, right? And that's how, because my dad's from El Rancho, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like,
He's a strong, he's a
Relate
tough
to
guy.
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
A
I
hard
remember I
man.
just lost it. And my sister was there too, and
Did
she
he
was crying
did he
too.
see that? Did he like see
Oh
you?
yeah, because we hugged. Yeah, we
Okay.
hugged, and you could hear me.
Yeah.
I was just bawling like a little bitch, but it was therapeutic.
See, in those moments, like, we shouldn't be ashamed of that.
Oh,
man.
no.
Like, and
No.
it's okay to be vulnerable, drop the guard down, and especially around the people who love you,
Yeah.
and the people that you love. Like, why not?
Yeah.
I think that's something that's like starting to become more accepted too. Is like
Right. Yeah. Like, and
even
then,
the older generations now, like
breaking the stigma, I think has
Yeah.
helped a lot too, and being more open, especially with the social media of the mental health,
Yeah.
and then because it is a real thing. I do believe it is a real thing, but also too we have to own up to it. And if I know that I'm feeling a certain way, all right, so what am I going to do about it? Because I feel a lot of people they put it out there, but they don't do anything with it, and it just sits there and ferments.
Or they use it as an excuse.
Right, and that's another that's another like,
Another
if you
rabbit
want-
hole.
Yeah, if you want to go to this route, turn to page 40. Yeah, then they use that as an excuse. All right, so how are you going to deal with your shitty behavior and fix it? Because all you're doing right now is just using it as a crutch.
Yes.
At some point, you have to own up to it and be like, all right, I'm feeling this way. How can I fix it? What can I do to make myself better so that I don't, by collateral damage, affect everybody else?
Right.
Yeah, 'cause no
ultimately,
one's
too-
gonna come to
right,
save you.
Right. And I get it, because there's a lot of people that try to help me out so much, and I would just keep blowing them off, or I would hurt them, or I would take them for granted, and then I would go back to my BS. So eventually they dropped me. And at the time, I hated them. I was like, how dare they leave me?
Right.
I get it now.
Like, how dare they leave?
Yeah.
I told them I was having a rough time.
Yeah.
It's like okay, but at some point you
Right.
have to help yourself.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we have to
So
own up to
others
it.
can help you
Right.
too.
So we have to own
Yeah.
up to it. And that's taking accountability.
Now, what has your partner Chris? Like, you mentioned him right now. You mentioned how you appreciate him. What has he meant to you? Like, when did he come into the picture, and what has he done? Like, to
So he is the owner of the rehab center that I went to, and when I woke up in San Antonio at the hospital, I put up on Twitter that I needed help, that I needed to go to rehab, and then he responded, and he's like, "Hey, if you're really serious about it, let's talk." So then he flew me up there. I went to rehab. I did that, and afterwards, we had talked about my story and all this other stuff, what I had done in India, that I was teaching everywhere. And he's like, well, why don't you just open up your own thing? And I was like, by golly gee whiz, you're right. So then, so he's been with me through this whole process, and he's been helping me out. And between him and his girlfriend, like, they've been super awesome, supportive throughout this whole thing. And so I love those guys, and I'm beyond thankful to have them in my life.
man. I'm so glad that you found that, man.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have peace.
It took a lot of violence to get to this peace.
Mm-hmm.
It took a whole lot of violence. And then that piece that I had been searching all over the place for, I finally found it. Well, I think I'm there-ish.
Now, I'm going to go a different route, and I'm going to ask you, what are your goals for tonight? You're gonna wrestle Mooncat is it for the South Texas title?
So this coming evening at Newbury Wrestling, Ricardo Rodriguez is actually going to step into that ring, and he's going to take on this Mooncat fella. And and listen, I have a lot of respect for him, because I know he has a lot of fans around the area, and I know he has a lot of people that admire him and like him. And I'm sure he's a nice kid, but that's what he is. He's just a kid. I'm not here to play any little childish games. I'm here to win titles. I am on one of the last amazing runs that I'll ever accomplish in professional wrestling. And Ricardo Rodriguez is going to leave Newbury Wrestling the new champion.
But Ricardo, you got to figure out, you're going to be surrounded by a bunch of Mooncat fans. He's in his hometown, way. ¿Cómo le vas a hacer? How are you going to fight off everybody else, man?
Listen.
It's not just him by himself.
No, sure. However, while he does have the youth on his side, I mean, I still have the experience, and I've been to many dances like this. This is nothing new to me. I've experienced people that think they come up and step up to somebody of this level, of this caliber, and then he has only but an idea of what he's getting into. But tonight, I'm going to make a little bit of a realization that he is nowhere near capable of taking down a giant like Ricardo Rodriguez.
Pues aquí está. You guys heard it here. Ricardo Rodriguez versus Mooncat for the South Texas title at Landmark. A nice little impromptu.
That was great.
Now, like when you do these things, like you just mentioned también how you're gonna, like you know what your role is.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the expectation? Like what is the outcome that you want? Like what do you want him to come out with after? Because he's gonna. The whole point for this is
Elevate him.
Yeah. How so?
I'm gonna be the living dog shit out of it.
Old school. Old school. We'll be there to watch.
Así se aprende.
No, man. Bueno, I know that time is running
Yeah.
short. You do have to be
I
out
have
there at a
just
certain
one
time.
more little question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
What would you like your legacy to be? Like we talked about how you want to be remembered. What do you want to be remembered for? In life,
Of
not
what,
just
what-
wrestling.
Let's
That-
do our cheers with it. With our jarritos.
Con jarritos.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered by
Weird.
somebody who gave back to a community that gave me so much. So, and then that community is pro wrestling, and then now the recovery and sobriety community.
There, cheers with us.
Well, cheers to
So
that.
happy memories and then happy times.
Cheers.
Prost.
Salud. Hoy soy yo. I heard it. We don't get a lot of like big names down here. You are a big name, and you might be Mooncat's first big name. And last after you're
And
done with
last.
them. pero no, I think that's great because así es como uno aprende. Like,
Yeah.
where else can somebody get that experience if not signed to a major company? It's like you bring the people that have lived it, who have experienced it, and are of right set of mind to be like, okay, I know my role. I'm going to come out here, and this kid is going to come out of that match better than what he did walking in.
Yeah. I for the longest always wanted to be that person that if they saw their name next to mine, they would have been like, "Oh, this is gonna be an easy night," and that's what it's gonna be. I'm still gonna beat him up. But
Hey, man, that's tough love, man.
he's gonna earn it.
Así
Yeah.
es como uno.
What do you mean by easy night?
That hey, I'm gonna protect them, and that they're gonna have fun, so they don't have to
It's
struggle.
gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
You know, we were with him last night at Pete Payne's diaper party, and he was so excited.
Good.
He was like wrestling around with Pete Payne, with the bigger guy.
He doesn't show a lot of emotion when Ted does. So I mean, to say that he was excited, that's a good sign, man.
Good.
That's a good sign.
Pues ahí quedó. Huge thanks to Jesus Ricardo Rodriguez for spending time with us when he was down here at the 956. You guys can follow Jesus on Instagram at J_Rodriguez818 and on X at RRWWE. But before we let you go, nosotros, Lucha por Lucha, we want to wish you the best of luck, Ricardo, on your big 3-on-3 match, upcoming event for 3 Legacies Wrestling, Damage Control. November 18th, Ricardo's going to be teaming up with Al Snook and Just Jay. They're going to be taking on Kevin Murphy, Clayton Adams, and Jason Raditz. Best of luck, no se lo pierdan. Damage Control, November 18th. And you guys can catch Ricardo on MLW every Thursday at 8 p.m. He's a member of Promociones Dorado with Janai Kai, Rocky Azúcar Romero, y la empresaria Salina de la Renta every Thursday, 8 p.m. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Lucha por Lucha. That's luchaxlucha. And on Spotify. Hit that little bell icon to get notifications of new episodes every other Saturday. The next episode is set to drop November 11th. But until then, pues ahí nos guachamos.